Thank you, Navya, for sharing that beautiful music. Good evening, everyone. Is my screen visible to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Okay. Can you all see my screen, right?
Vani, can you share it again?
Okay. Is it visible now? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for responding so quickly. There is a do now on your screen, and I would like you all to introduce yourself with your name and where are you from, with one favorite thing that you like to do during winters in January. Yeah.
Can I?
You can write it on the chat box, ma'am. I can
Thank
see
you.
the chat right now. Yeah. I see a lot of people have started introducing themselves. Would request all of you to just quickly introduce yourself. We'll take 1 more minute to do so. I can see someone has written reading a book and drinking tea. Someone loves cooking in the month of January. Wake up early and observe nature around you. That's like amazing answers are coming in. I would request you to post your answers in the chat window. Keep going on with that. Till then, I am moving forward. Firki has organized a special 15 webinar series to celebrate Teach for India's 15th anniversary. The series 15 Sparks of Change will feature exceptional alumni who have made a lasting impact in the field of education sector and beyond. And through this series, we aim to focus on three major areas. First being preparing our future educators. Second, getting you some innovative teaching and learning approaches. Last but not the least, we will focus on leadership and management in education as well. Now, to make this session more engaging and productive for you, I'll take you through some few features that are there on the Zoom through which you can make this session more engaging and productive for yourself. First, there is a mic button. You can click onto the mic button to unmute yourself and share your views. But I request you to do it only when speaker asks you to do so. Then next to the mic button, there is a video button. You can click onto the video button to switch on your videos. I would highly recommend to see your faces on the screen. It feels more lively when I can see your faces on the screen. And that will make the session more interactive as well. Next up, we have the chat button at the extreme right. You can click onto the chat button to put in your questions, your thoughts about what speaker is saying, and I'll be here to curate all your questions and take it to the speaker as well. Before we move into the webinar, there are a few norms for the session that I would iterate right now. First being, we request you to keep your cameras on. Second, to avoid any kind of disturbance, please make sure that you keep your mics off unless you need to speak something or speaker asks you to do so. Also, you can type in your thoughts and questions in the chat window, or you can raise your hands if you want to speak in between of the session. Please participate enthusiastically. This webinar is for you and your thoughts and questions. Also, to capture your learning, you can take active notes of this webinar. And last but not the least, keep it as a safe space. Now, finally, welcome to the webinar. And our webinar is featuring Learning Without Limits, Educators as Community Builders. And we have a very special person who is going to facilitate this webinar. Meet Jay Mishra. He was a 2013 Teach for India Fellow, after which, after completing the fellowship, he transitioned into doing a role at the staff in Teach for India, after which then he opened his own community center at Pune, and now he is the co-founder of Umeed Community Center. We welcome you, Jay, to the webinar, and handing it over to you. I am really looking forward for the learning experience that you are going to create for our users. Over to you, Jay.
Thank you, Vani. Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible. At any point of time you feel I'm not audible, just unmute yourself and let me know. Yeah, let's quickly start because we have very limited time. Super excited to engage with 90 participants, though मैं ही हूँ उसमें क्योंकि yeah, so I've signed up from 2 devices so that I'm able to read the chats easily. Just allow me to share my screen first. Vani, can you allow me to share the screen?
1 minute, Jay. Done, Jay. Can you check once again? Is it working for you now?
Perfect. Apologies. I think screen is now visible to everybody. I'll also following the norm, turn on the camera. Yeah, perfect. So hi everyone, my name is Jay. I come from a small town in Uttar Pradesh, Jaunpur. I saw some of the participants are from Varanasi, teaching in Sunbeam School probably. So a very familiar school to me at least. I shifted to Pune in 2013 as a part of my Teach for India fellowship, where I taught grade 5 and 6 for 2 years, and then joined Teach for India staff as program manager, where I think got the opportunity to learn more and get to understand the role of an educator even better and even more at depth. And then since then, I've tried, tested multiple things, keeping one thing constant, that is teaching every single day, because that's where I get a lot of inspiration. In this session particularly, it is not going to be one me sharing, because I see a lot of you are pretty much even more experienced than me here. So we'll create a space for ourselves where we are learning together. And would really love for you to share your ideas, your thoughts, so that as a group, we have we should get a better understanding of what even this means when I'm saying education goes beyond the classroom, right? Like sometimes I also use the phrase that breaking the four walls of the classroom, and the real learning happens when we are outside the class. Uh, this is this is what I want all of us to do. Let's get back to our childhood days, right? I want all of you to think of your favorite memory when you were in schools or when you were learning about things, right? When you started learning formally, what is your favorite thing or the favorite memory you have? You can use chat box. You can also unmute yourself and share. I think that's okay. Your favorite memory of your childhood days when you started learning things formally. Playing football and applying Newton's laws. Okay. Thank you, Sandesh. Mathematics tuitions. I love it. Okay. So this was your favorite thing. Nice.
Can I?
Leadership. Yeah, please go ahead.
This is Svinita from Obela. I want to share my good memory from school days. I am the CM. I studied in the government school. From 8th to 10th, I am the chief minister in my high school. That is
Wow.
my very good memory in my life.
Perfect. And what I'm also reading in the chat box is field trips, running, group study, field trip, playing cricket, playing football. Our teachers supposed to use various aspects to teach us. They show an environment, group aspects. This was my memory. Annual day celebration. Yeah, I love it. Simple practical experiences like using lenses, mirrors, connecting. I'm the teacher, being given storybooks, drill classes, high school debate sessions. Perfect. So while we are moving forward, please keep responding to this question as well. And I would also like other participants to keep reading what your colleagues are writing here. I am also saying my unmemorable memories are my friends. Nation festival, field trip. Field trip, a lot of people have shared writing stories, intuitions. Perfect. I think my favorite childhood memory was bunking the school and then playing cricket. That's the memory I have had. That's something I mostly did till grade 10. Not motivating anybody to do the same thing. But since childhood, that is one thing I've always questioned, is that why can't I learn while playing things, right? Why can't I just play cricket or play sports and ignore the entire schooling thing altogether? But that was not possible, wasn't in my hand as well. And let's just keep, we will stay in our childhood days for some more time. And here's the next question. Now think of your favorite educator when you were in school and what makes him or her your favorite. And let's quickly respond in the chat boxes. Who was your favorite educator and what makes him or her your favorite? And if some of you want to just come unmute and share, that's great. Maths teacher and his excellence. Sandhya ma'am, I would really appreciate if you can also share, when you are saying excellence, what make her excellent, right? What aspect of excellence you are talking about?
Yeah.
Maths
Yeah.
teacher. Yeah, please
Hi,
go ahead.
everybody.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, James. Hi, Jay. Okay. My favorite teacher was my maths teacher. He taught me like from grade 5th to like till grade 12th, and what I'm here like mentioning excellence, I really love the value carried always with the excellence. Basically, my mean is that whenever he come to class, he come with full preparedness. So whatever he is teaching at any time, any topic, anything, he makes sure कि okay, each and every child of his classroom will understand this. So this
Yeah.
value of excellence, I love that, and I try to like incorporate that in my classroom also, as I am a year one fellow in Teach for India, placed in Delhi only. So I love that, and I try to follow that in my classroom also. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. What I'm also reading is a lot of you had some great math teacher. I think this is probably for the first time I'm engaging with team of educators who are there are so many. You have experiences where you had great math teachers, and I am assuming that a lot of you love maths then. And that is what brings me to my next question. Some mathematical questions here, right? So because childhood days when we started learning, remember everything gets assessed by an exam, and here is the exam for all of us here, right? After two childhood questions, the first question is pretty simple. We'll be quickly using chat box to respond to this, not taking a lot of time because question is very easy. What is 1 plus 1? Let's go ahead. The simple math question. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Somebody has said 3. I'm assuming it's by mistake.
It's 2, sir.
2, yeah. And then Reshma ma'am had said 11. It can be 11 as well. Can be 11 as well. I think if I ask this question to a first grader or a second grader, they would just say 2. It's the adult which is making us make more answers out of this simple question. 1 plus 1 is 2. It can be 11. I recently interacted with a bunch of children in grade 8 where they converted this plus sign into 4 and they said 1 plus 1 is 141 as well. So a lot of games around this number. Very simple answer, 2. Now the next question. What is 1 drop of water plus 1 drop of water?
Again, sir?
Now quick. 1 drop of water plus 1 drop of water. Like 1 small drop of water plus 1 small drop of water. Yeah, if you have water around, you should have like a water bottle with you right now. Just do it. Add 1 drop and 1 more drop, and let's see what comes out with. Yeah, those who are saying 2 drops, just do it. Take a drop of water, add 1 more drop to it, and let's see if you can see 2 drops. Right? You will get 1 bigger drop of water. You won't get 2 drops anymore now. The next question. What is 1 drop of red color plus 1 drop of green color?
Again?
1 drop of red color plus 1 drop of green color. And if you have colors around you, just play with it. Just do it. 1 drop of brown color, yeah, mixed color drops, brown, brown, brown. It's maroon, 1 drop of yellow, drop blue color. So for sure, we are going to get 1 drop of color. It is going to be brownish shade, almost very, very close to the color of a chocolate. So again, the answer is no more 2, right? Now, final question of this test paper. What is 1 egg plus 1 sperm? We are also getting into science, right? Just integrating the element of science here as well. What is 1 egg and 1 sperm? Yeah, 1 life, 1 chromosome, a baby. Embryo, yes. Zygote. A lot of science teachers here that I can clearly see now just by reading the answers. Superb. Again, the answer is no more 2. Now, if you read the question at number A, which is 1 plus 1, and now if you read the question at D, which is 1 egg and 1 sperm, what is the difference you are seeing here? What is making the answer so different? And why it is no more 2? Anybody, if you can just come off mute and share, that would be really great. Why do you think my answers have changed from A to B to C to D? The context is different, right? Because of the objects, because we are adding something in the question, Bindu ma'am is saying. I think a lot of you are saying very, very similar things. What I'm doing is I'm adding a story behind those numbers, and those stories are making my outcome look drastically different. It is no more same, right? Unfortunately, what I have experienced is that if I teach a 32 bunch of children in a classroom, those 32 children are numbers to us, scoring some marks in math and science and history and geography and English and Hindi across different subjects. So a child, we say that, oh, this child is good in math because this child had scored 90 out of 100, and this one is good in Hindi because it had scored 65, 70, 80, whatever marks. And at a lot of times, because I've seen that because we teachers are overburdened by the work as well, we forget that those numbers which our children are scoring in the exam also have some story to it, right? And the focus does not really go on those stories. That if a child is doing well in one subject and not doing well in another one, there could be 1,000 reasons behind it. And in this session, we are going to explore that how do we get to know our children even better. This is quickly a story. I don't know how many of you have read it, but it was written by the great, great person, Rabindranath Tagore, written originally in Bengali called Tota Kahani, and then translated in multiple languages, hence in English as well. It is The Parrot's Tale. Now, Parrot's Tale, what it does is this is a story of a parrot where parrot is caged because parrot was liked by the king. He liked the parrot so much that he asked everyone in his empire that, oh, I really like this parrot because he looks very beautiful. But there was one problem with the parrot. Parrot used to make a lot of noise. And the king said that let's get all the teachers of my empire to figure out a solution that how do we work with, how do we problem solve this with the parrot. The idea is to keep the parrot quiet. And there were teachers who came there and said that, oh, we really now have to civilize this parrot. The parrot is not civilized. And hence a golden cage was made. And then teachers started feeding a lot of textbooks to the parrot. Slowly with time, parrot stopped saying even single thing, right? And parrot, they kept tearing the pages of the textbook and started feeding it to the parrot. At the end, they started. Sorry, I'm not able to get your question. You can you just put it in the chat box if you have any issue with the tech as well. Now, what happened at the end of this story, right? Like, parrot became very, very quiet, and king was so happy that the most beautiful thing of his empire is now quiet, and now king can keep the parrot with him in his kingdom. And at the end of the day, king rewarded the teachers, rewarded the person who had made the cage, the golden cage as well. And when he took out the parrot, he found out that the parrot was dead. Now, if you see what is this story telling us, what we do, right? Like, we all of us have our own natural style of learning things. We have learned a lot of things from the nature. When we look at this whole parrot thing right now, if you see this has been sourced from a website called Shikshantar, doing some great work in the field of education. This is how they have made it more relevant now in terms of educating our own children, right? So you see a lot of exams, students getting the obedience prize, and then just because they're following a certain rule, regulations of the classroom. What has it done to our children is that the curiosity and the creativity of our kids are being killed in the classrooms if we focus only within the four walls of the class. And now, what I want all of you to, and here maybe you would not like what I'm going to say, but all of you are teachers, and I'm sure, like, I have been teaching from last 12 years. This is going to be my 13th year of teaching children instead of class as well, and outside class as well. And I know that at times I am biased. At times there is a kid in the classroom who I just don't like. I was like, boss, if today this child is absent, I'm going to nail my class. I'm going to facilitate the best class ever. If you have any such student in your career, can you think of that one student whom you think, yeah, this child is just making my life difficult? And then we had, even after having all the rules, consequences in place, we were not able to get hold of the child. Just make a mental note of it. I would also appreciate if one of you or some of you can just show the courage and share that story or your experience with that kid. That would be really, really great. A child who made your life difficult, who is either made or is making your life difficult in your classroom. Anybody, either in the chat box, and what is the child doing which is making your life difficult?
Do you want us to share? Like, am I audible?
Yeah, yes, Megha, yes, you are audible.
So I'll just share on behalf of my students. They're also attending the session. Sanskruti. Sanskruti, are you here? So Sanskruti, if you can hear me, you can join us. So she was teaching, me and her, we were in the classroom, and it was of day one. Yeah. Sanskruti, would you like to share it yourself, your experience when students made your life really difficult?
Sure. I'm in the train, so I might not be audible, but I'll give it a shot. So I just started teaching a classroom of 9th graders, and I took up a topic. I was teaching surface area, but the class was, let's just say, unruly. They had a lot of, they were screaming and they were, not disciplined, I would say. And we tried to divide them into groups and, make them do group activities. But it was very difficult to handle them. It was very difficult for me to even, find, like, I couldn't stand my ground at all. I did not know what to do. So for the next class, Megha ma'am and I and the co-teacher, Priyanka, the three of us, we tried to sit down and think about how we could change this. And we tried to, change the setting. We tried to divide them into a class of 2 groups. And then we were able to fix it a little bit. We were able to catch their attention. We were able to communicate with them more, I think.
Yeah. So I think she was not very clear. We just divide them to small groups, took them outside in the playground, and Sanskruti devised a wonderful game related to math and surface area, and children just got engaged in playing that game. They made a dice, and from that she took out her concept of surface area, and that was the first time they paid attention. They were listening, and we were very happy and celebrating that moment.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Sanskruti and Megha ma'am, for sharing your experience with the children. What I'm also reading in the chat box is, also I'm extremely honest. So there are things which if I am feeling uncomfortable, I'm going to share it, right? There is nothing which is making me uncomfortable, but just letting you know. Some of you have said that have 2-3 students who are difficult to manage. And I think that's the word I really want to emphasize on. When we are saying to manage children, what are we really trying to manage? Are we trying to manage their behavior, or are we trying to manage the way they learn? What are we really trying to manage about those children? And then child showing attitudes. I have more than 20 students, and then I think Megha ma'am had shared that experience. And 2 students who are diagnosed with ADHD. That's a very different, I think, very different type of children whom we really. I am not expert of that, so can't really comment on that side. But if there is a child in the classroom as an educator, if I'm not liking the child, why I'm not liking the child is because I've made a lot of stories about that kid. Because that kid has either spoiled the best lesson I had ever planned, or the kid is not just letting me teach in the classroom, and there is a burden of finishing the syllabus, and just because of one child, the other kids are not learning, I'm not able to focus. And hence I make the story, and what I do is when I'm going in the staff room, I'm telling the other staff as well that, oh, this is X student who is very bad, who is not, or she's not letting me teach. And we'll see that another teacher will go with the same perception about that one child. And then suddenly what happens is that this one child becomes negative in front of the entire school. And this is why this happens is this is because of we teachers are in position of authority. And what we do is when we share a story, that story becomes very important for everybody else. And that's why I always say that power shapes stories, and we teachers have the power. We believe it or not, we have the authority in the classroom. And why power shapes the story? Because who tells the story? It's mostly will hear it from your colleague teacher or from your school principal. And when and how they are being told. And third is that there are very limited stories about those kids. If there is a child who is very defiant, destructive, you'll see that the same kind of stories are being heard even by the students, by the other teachers, non-teaching staff about that one child, and that builds the perception, then slowly converts into belief that, oh, this child just can't learn. Then how do we solve this problem? Right? My assumption is we all know the answers. We all have tried many things. And my question to this group is, and that's where we can use chat box. What are some of the challenges we have faced when we have tried different things, right? When we have started to take our learning beyond the classroom, when we have started to know our children better, what are some of the challenges we have faced as a teacher or as a facilitator or an educator in the classroom? What are some of the challenges we have faced when we tried knowing our kids beyond the classroom, or when we started to engage with them beyond classroom? They're not ready to come to school. Others, what are the challenges you have faced? Showing tantrums. Can you also elaborate what kind of tantrums you are talking about?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. So I am working in a school. It's at Lonavala, Antarbharti Balgram School. And it's a school attached to the Child Care Institute, where all marginalized, difficult children come. Now, when I'm saying difficult, they are having various issues, socio-emotional issues, marginalized, where either they have deprived from the basic education and they have directly come to the institute because the police and court and have brought them. So I am having a children with the different learning levels. Although in 8th standard, suppose if I go in 8th standard, although the child is supposed to be at par with the 14-year age and curriculum or the educational level of 8th standard, but the child is not at par that. Out of 25, 5 maybe as per their educational level, 4 maybe 1 grade below, then
Yeah.
maybe 7 to 8, 2 to 3 grade below. So I am having this major challenge, and to deal with them is a major, task for my teachers.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Uh, Also, what I'm reading is Ashwini ma'am saying lack of parents' involvement, and then there is a student. Somebody has shared that student is good at academics but not displaying good manners, disturbing others, shouting, not taking part wholeheartedly, then getting angry suddenly, mood swings. Teacher to first correct the students in class, restless students. Somebody has written poverty. Would really appreciate if you can elaborate how poverty is a challenge. One child is disturbing to other children. Some students are good in oral, not written, and they fear exam. Yeah, fear of exam is true. Now, I believe that this group has answered to all of these challenges as well. Because if you just see this, right, and if we could probably get even more time, and if the community of teachers start coming together to brainstorm on the solutions, I'm sure one of the teacher will get answer from the other one and can also give answer to somebody else. Let's just for now, for this session, let's take this case of this one child, or let's just take the case of a parent investment, right? Like parents are not invested. How many of you feel that the students you are working with, their parents are not invested? Can you just quickly say, press 1 in your chat box if you think that the parents you work with, they are not invested in the child's education. 1 if you feel, yeah, that's the case even with my kids, my teachers, my school. And no if you feel that, oh no, parents in my case are pretty much invested. 1, yeah. Others, like just waiting quickly, let's take 5 seconds to respond to this in the chat box. 50% invested, 50% not. Thank you, Smita ma'am. Yeah, perfect. So 1. I think parent investment, parents are not invested, few parents are doing better. That's always the case. Now, why do you think, like, if I really want somebody who had stayed 1 or pressed 1 there in the chat box, like if you can just quickly come off mute and say, why do you think parents are not invested?
Can I say something?
Yeah, please.
I'm Seema Sheikh, and
Yeah, ma'am.
I feel that the reason is that today parents are also equally stressed, and making both ends meet. So I'm talking especially about my school, that parents, roti kapda makan, I think the basic needs are something that parents have to take care of. So education takes a backseat for them, and then they
Yeah.
feel once we have sent the child to school, it is the responsibility of the school and the teachers to take care of the child, because we are
Yeah.
already paying the fees, and as it is we have to make our earning so that we are able to send the child to school. And I don't say they are wrong in some to some extent, because they have put the responsibility on us. And secondly, I also feel that when they are saying this, there is also one factor that we have to look at it positively: the amount of trust that they are laying on the school. They are putting that trust on the school, that school will be able to take care of my kid, whatever the
Yeah.
reason be. Maybe their financial conditions, maybe the time constraints. Today commuting is such a big problem that my parents come and say that हमारा 1 घंटा तो आने में जाने में लग जाता है, आप 6 बजे स्कूल छोड़ते हो, हम 8 बजे घर पे पहुंचते हैं. Though the distance is just 2-3 kilometers, the traffic jams and all create so much of problem. So then
Yeah.
parents really do not have the time, for that purpose, or going home and then looking into their studies. So
Yeah.
we actually need to revamp our education system so that we are able to keep the children as well as the parents happy, and the teachers too. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Seema ma'am. I think you really pointed out some of the beautiful points, right? Like we have to revamp our education system, and that will, unfortunately, it won't happen tomorrow. And we cannot just wait ki once the revamp, like education system will be revamped, things will get better. We still have to figure out a solution to this problem, especially in today's times, mostly in the urban area. when both the parents are working parents, it's very difficult to get hold of them, right? And it's also not fair to call them in the school just because they are probably get daily wage workers in some of the cases, or
Yes.
they are not getting off by the offices where they are working, right? That's the, like, could be some genuine cases of they not coming to the school to get update about their own children.
Yeah, thank you
Now,
so much. Thank you.
what should we do in those cases then?
I think trust is something that works. So trusting the students, trusting the parents, and above all, having an adult talk with the children. You talk to the children as if you are talking to an adult, making the child understand things so that the child becomes more responsible, and
Yeah,
there is less need of intervention by the parents because the child is taking the onus and the responsibility. So this
yeah,
aspect of student leadership, if we concentrate on, a lot of change happen, and I have worked on it and I have experienced it. That is why I'm sharing. Thank
perfect.
you.
Thank you so much. What I'm going to share in next few slides is my experience of working with community. What are the few small things I did? And also to give you a context that I work with set of children whose almost both the parents are working. Some of them have actually single parent, either mother or the father, and yet we were able to get all the parents on board with us. And very small things we were able to do. Um, And I'll come back to this slide later. But that's what I did when I started teaching, right? Like when I thought of in last 12 years, how was I able to bring the parents in the school and the community together? I think four things I believe a lot in. The first is collaboration. I feel that that's the most important thing. One teacher cannot really change the world unless the teacher starts collaborating with everybody who is having some impact on the child. Second is, how do we show that commitment, right? If a parent cannot come to school, can I go to the parent's house and can I visit the child's house? And maybe it is going to take a lot of time if I'm teaching 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 children in a classroom. But doing one visit is better than doing no visits. Impacting one child is better than not impacting anybody. Third is courage. And I think I have come to the realization that teachers are already courageous. We just need to get the opportunity and we have to start showing that courage more often, where we are fearlessly confronting our barriers and then figuring out those innovative solutions. Where if system is not ready to change, can I create a system at smaller micro level in my classroom, at my school, which is allowing the parents and community and school to come together more often. And last but not least, is something I've realized is the cultural consciousness. This element is very important, right? Like when Meghna ma'am, I am just bad with the names. She shared that when kids went outside, when they started playing, they learned, they stopped misbehaving as well, right? And the teacher's life became easy. This is because when we work with children, every child comes or brings a cultural element in the classroom. And how do we start respecting and identifying those elements? Very small things. And what I've seen is it has really worked in cases where I have worked with the kids. And the approach we follow is a strength-based approach, right? Where we are saying, let's take a holistic approach of transforming a kid's life, right? It is not just academics. If my kid is doing brilliant in math, it does not mean that he's mentally fit, he's emotionally fit, he or her, him or her is well-being is well. So the physical health, the social health, the emotional health, and then academics as well. And second is co-creation. I think that's the key. Like in my case, even the PTMs, parent teachers meeting or parent teachers conferences, were co-created with the help of some parents, teachers, students, and the school leadership team, right? I have realized that when co-creation happens, then there is always a investment of the parents or the community in that idea itself. And you don't have to push or put in a lot of efforts to get them in those meetings. And third is community building. this sounds pretty easy, but how do we do that community building exercises? I think when Seema ma'am was talking about revamping that entire education system, we revamped our PTMs. And we say that PTM just cannot be a monologue by the teacher. It just cannot be a meeting where we are sharing an update with our students. It has to be something else. And what we said is in 60, 75 minutes of whatever number of parents turning up, let's create a space where we, all of us involved in that PTM, are learning something new. And my realization is that human beings are more they get excited and interested when there is something new for them to learn or something new for them to know. So our meetings were a place where we call them, and we did very simple things, right? Like one such example was we called parents, teachers, school leadership together along with students, where we gave them some raw materials, we gave them old clothes, needle and then thread, and then we asked them to stitch a heart while talking to each other in that meeting. So they were doing two things. They were making something, making a product, and second, they were also speaking about what's going on in their personal lives, what is the child doing, and everybody was getting to know each other. What it did, because I've found out that a lot of parents bring in some strength. And especially in one case, which I can clearly remember, is there was this community male influencers who were part of that meeting, and they just did not know how to stitch. But the task was to stitch something, and they were learning it from a mother from the community. What did it do? It A, broke the power dynamics that existed. B, I think that group became very, very familiar to each other, that even after meeting, they started supporting each other as well. And C, I think at the end of that whole 190 minutes, what I got to know was not just parent, but the entire group of adults were much more aware about what the child is doing, what the child wants to do, and what the child has done. And the kid is part of that meeting as well. And then another one is long-term engagement. I believe that change is going to take time. When I'm talking about learning, taking that learning beyond the classroom, involving community members, it will take some time. And we also have to be mindful of the fact that we work with certain communities or a particular diverse group of people, and hence we need to be culturally sensitive as well. Now, how do we are able to do this? By doing very, very simple thing. Something I do almost even now is, like, after building all the trust with the parents as well. And not a lot of people would not like it, because a lot of us also expect ki in such sessions something great will come out, some bigger frameworks will come out. Like, very small practice I do is making sure that I'm having a cup of chai with at least one parent every single day. Either the parent is visiting the school, then I'm having the chai, or I'm just going and visiting the parent's house and then I'm having the chai. But the thumb rule I follow is every day visiting one kid's house. Even if I have nothing to do, no work to do with the parent, I will still turn up in the house. And then it's been 12, 13 years of spending time with the families here, and I felt that they expect now, okay, this guy can turn up, and the conversation has gone much deeper. I'll also talk about what is the impact, but it's even to build that trust, I have figured out is that it takes 3 cups of tea to build that trust. And these are some of the stakeholders we work with. This is a theory, just keeping this, I don't think it is required, but that's the approach I have felt that can really change how our kids are learning. And the third one is my favorite, which is second and third, which goes hand in hand, that can we create a pipeline of support? Just one teacher cannot change everything for a child. So can I have everybody helping the teacher, or like the entire community coming together to make sure that child life of a kid is being transformed? Otherwise, that one student who is doing academically well will always misbehave if other things are not being taken care of. And teachers have to also accept that, boss, I cannot do everything. And that's where I need to create the pipeline of support for our children. And that will only happen if we start building community among all the residents, institutions, every stakeholders, and making sure that kid is getting support, all kind of support. I'll also quickly share by one example as well. And these are the challenges. I think some of you have already shared about the challenges you have faced. But one example which comes to me when I started teaching was, I started in 2013, came from this city, Jaunpur, UP, did not know Marathi. I was placed in a Teach for India classroom where I was supposed to teach the entire day, 7:10 to 12:15. And kids were learning 6 subjects. I was able to teach them math, science, English, Hindi, social studies, but just could not help them in Marathi. And my habit of visiting the parents' house was there from the beginning itself. I remember, like in one of those visits, one of the parent herself asked that, oh, what is the problem you are facing? You have come from a different city. Are you struggling with something? And my immediate response was, like, I'm not able to teach Marathi and kids are not learning the regional language. That's the one subject they're not learning at all. Her immediate response was, if you allow, I can come volunteer and teach twice a week. Right? And this one Didi started coming twice a week, did it for the entire year, for the next year, and for the following years as well. And the kids did fabulous in Marathi. And that's where we have leveraged the community. And that's why I mentioned that strength-based approach, that community brings in a lot of strength. What we have to do is we have to start seeing that, oh, can I have the parents in the school not for giving them update, but can I leverage a parent, and can parent come in and teach a skill to our children in the classroom? This is the journey I think I've been on, and with the help of community, what we have able to see is, and you'll see a lot of things happening, right? So, and all these ideas have emerged from a school building. That's the greatest thing I have observed, right? Like today, a woman in the community is leading her own enterprise. The idea emerged from this school where she saw there is a group of women who needed support and they came together, and now they are running their own stores in the community. We saw this Matri Cafe, which is a beautiful idea of set of children. When they observed was the low income families just cannot go to restaurants after pandemic because they had no money and everybody was rushing towards hotels and restaurants. And kids said, oh, can we run Matri Cafe, which was a free cafe every weekends in the community for the people of community. Now, where do they get the funds from? What did they do? They reached out to the community members, and community members offered them rice, wheat. They also offered support. They came to cook dishes, and some brilliant things happened. And these are some of the academic numbers we have been able to see, right? Now, these are our grade 10 results, nothing big to celebrate here though. What is big to celebrate here is whatever numbers you are seeing, it is result of students teaching students in the community. So this is not, these are the kids who are not being taught by adults. These are the ones who are taught teaching each other. So it's a peer learning model which we implemented, and then parents are equally involved in what we do. These are some of the data points you can see, but yeah, those are grade 10 numbers. We make sure that our students are also getting into junior colleges and then senior colleges. We have seen that number for us, in our case, is 100%. None of our kids have been dropped off, and the credit goes to the students and their family members. We had done nothing to drive this change. What we do is we just keep them together very, very frequently to make sure that they are engaged and they are talking to each other, where parent and kids have the platform to speak. When I'm saying senior college admission is 100%, what I'm also talking about is these kids from low income families have gone to topmost colleges of the Pune city, also of this country. So you'll see most of them in Azim Premji University, Parul, Dr. Ambedkar University, Delhi, Shulini. Yeah, that's that's all from my end today. And I think I have just 6 minutes left, 4 minutes left, to be honest. Would love to take questions if anybody has any sort of question here or any comments which if you want to make that can help this group to learn something more or at a deeper level.
Yeah, hi. Can I ask a question?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. A very good evening to you. So I just wanted to ask, we are struggling with the differentiated learning environment in one class. I mean, we have different kinds of learners in a class, and the school structure says that it is 1:40 ratio. I mean, 40 children and one teacher. So some ideas that, how can the teacher cope with this kind of a situation?
Yeah, okay. I think what I do is I can only share what I do to solve these problems for myself. One thing I do is that I get volunteers who are either at just 1 year or 2 years older than the kids I'm working with, and they come in the classroom and help me with those set of children. So it is one teacher facilitating, and then there are co-facilitators in the classroom who are working with those different set of children. When I'm saying co-facilitators, those co-facilitators are also well trained. So a teacher like if I have a class tomorrow, in today evening, I'm going to sit with those 4-5 co-facilitators or 2-3, whatever number I have, and I'm going to tell them this is what I need from you in the class. And then they come in the classroom and they help me facilitate this. Because the number is too big, that's what I have figured out for myself. In some of the cases, I've also gotten some of the parents to co-facilitate with me. But I've seen those teenagers helping teenagers have really worked out in our case. Because probably it's the language becomes too easy, or it's same kind of language they use to teach each other. Like the kids you are seeing even on the screen, the 6 of them are the best co-facilitators I have had got. And this is a very recent picture. So this is my team, you can say, who was also teaching with me every single day. And they are also mentors of those, like I call them table facilitators, basically. So there's table where there are 10 children learning, and then one of them will facilitate that table. Also, this one person becomes the mentor of that group for a month, and then the next month the mentorship changes. But this is what I am doing. I don't know if there is if somebody is part of the webinar who can answer to that question.
We're doing buddy program. Yes, we're doing buddy thing in our school. Yes, that is one thing we're doing. So I just wondered if there's something more. And yes, a child who's already learned, we're doing peer-to-peer tutoring also.
Yeah, perfect. I'm just going to stop sharing this screen so that, yeah. If any of you has any question, please feel free to ask, or any comments, put it in the chat box. How did you confront the language issue in your interaction? I'm from Hyderabad and most of the parents talk in Telugu. I think just being honest that I can't do it. Like I knew I don't know Marathi and I went to the parent and said I can't do it. Asking for help, I think that's sometimes we hesitate that I don't know if the community will offer the support. Like if I'm a teacher asking support from the principal, sometimes I'm hesitating. That will only make the problem even more difficult to solve.